6,000 miles away from the park in Dorset, Monkey World's sister sanctuary, Dau Tien, plays a major part in protecting some of the most endangered species in Vietnam. Set up with the full support of the Vietnamese authorities, it was the brainchild of Monkey World's director, Dr. Alison Cronin, and her late husband, Jim. With the illegal wildlife trade increasing globally, conservation is becoming a priority for the country, which now has more than 30 national parks. Many of the primates arriving at the centre have had a poor start in life and are in desperate need of expert care. Quy, a 7-month-old black-shanked Douc who arrived just last week, is one example.
It's been a roller coaster. Not only the nutrition, but mostly because we don't have another Douc his size, and Douc need Douc. If they don't have stimulus and contact from a Douc, they just close down and go to sleep, and they can very easily die.
Dr. Marina Kenyon runs Dau Tien, along with her partner Lee, and a team of dedicated Vietnamese staff. They've been rescuing and rehabilitating gibbons, Doucs and pygmy loris for more than 15 years. Quy is the 22nd Douc monkey to come through the centre's doors since they opened in 2008. The circumstances surrounding his arrival are all too familiar.
Quy was found in the hunter's house on his own. It's highly likely that Mum and a few other family members were shot. Sadly, it's increasingly popular now to eat Douc meat. The hunting of Douc is greater than we think, and it's increasing. So it's one of those things we need to try and create so much awareness for at the moment, because before we know it, they're going to be struggling. So while the population is still strong, we need to make sure the world realizes how wonderful they are, but most importantly, with their own kind in the forest.
The team at Dau Tien have managed to successfully rescue, rehabilitate and release back into the wild nearly 200 primates. The island reserve in the Dong Nai province of Cat Tien National Park measures around 56 hectares and has enjoyed success with large numbers of pygmy lorises. The sanctuary also leads the way in the rescue and rehabilitation of black-shanked Douc monkeys, just like little Quy. It's become the prime centre in the region, necessitated by the ever-increasing black market trade in the species.
Black-shanked Doucs in the wild live in a fission-fusion society, so from small groups of 6 or 7 to big supergroups up to around 80. So a Douc in the forest is never alone. So to try and imagine how it feels for Quy now, without any other Douc around, there would normally be a sister, a cousin, someone else to play with. The infant Douc have lots of play behaviour, which we saw with the other ones, like blindman's buff. So the thought of being on your own is really, really tough. So stimulating Quy with other Douc is so important, because without it, he's not going to make it. So now it's time for sleepy Quy to go and meet the Douc.
To help Quy through this difficult period, the team are enlisting the help of 3 young Douc monkeys, who arrived just before the global pandemic struck: Vu, Anna and Red. Phong, head of specialist care on the island, has been the trio's main carer. She's built up an amazing rapport with the 3 Doucs, and that trust has been reciprocated. They're keen to get a closer look at the small and fragile new arrival. While it's vital for Quy to have this interaction, these 3 aren't a permanent solution to his plight. Marina is hoping the older Doucs will soon be ready for release back where they belong, the high tree canopy of the Vietnamese forest. They're growing up fast, and plans for the next stage of their development are more pressing each day.
The Doucs this year will be 4 years of age, so they're actually reaching sexual maturity. And this is another reason why we need to keep pushing forward with our plans. We have 3 boys and 1 little lady, Anna, so we need to try and release maybe one unit, a male-female unit, and also 2 boys as a separate band. But luckily these social units do occur in wild Doucs, so it's all good, and they're physically fit, they're socially well equipped, but the next stage, who knows?
It's an early start today for the team on Douc. After weeks of planning and checks, it's time for the golden-cheeked gibbons to take the next step in their rehabilitation.
They've come from a cage. We can't just put them straight into Katian National Park, so we actually create an area where we can give them part of the forest. This will help them brachiate better, it will improve their condition, and it will also train them to eat different types of leaf, different types of fruit, and then that process, hopefully they can then take to Katian National Park when we do their release.
It's a far cry from where they came from. Tung, a 6-year-old female, was found abandoned in the car park of an apartment complex in Ho Chi Minh City. Louis, the male, is a little younger and was found tied to a cage with a collar around his neck. Thanks to the dedication of the team at Douc, they're now promising candidates for release back into the wild. Tung and Louis are taken to a release cage within the semi-free area. They'll spend the night here getting used to the sights, sounds and smells of what will be their new home until they're ready for release.
This is a vital part of their rehabilitation, and we have to work hard toward understanding and making sure that they can do this next process before going to Katian. The younger we can do it with the gibbons, the better and hopefully better success rate we'll have, because they'll have less imprint from human behaviour and activity.
Work on the island never stops, whatever the weather. It's 24/7 for the team, looking after the gibbons during the day, and then preparing night feeds for the lorises. Rehabilitating and releasing lorises back into the wild has been a big success story for Douc. Out of 144 rescued, 131 have been returned to the forest. And the lorises keep on coming. Almost all rescued or confiscated from the black market trade in Vietnam. There are currently 16 pygmy and Bengal lorises on the island. One of the most challenging they've had to rehabilitate is Zuli, a pygmy loris who arrived extremely overweight.
He was double his normal weight, 800 grams, fed lots of banana, and he was fiercely angry, wanted to bite humans, if you couldn't go in the enclosure with him, he wanted to come and attack you. And that isn't normal loris behaviour, that's a loris that's been messed up in the pet trade. So over the last 2.5 years, we've been working with him to get him to weight, but also to calm him down, to stop him being so angry. And slowly over the months, he's settled down.
Several attempts to partner him up with a female failed, but Zuli now seems content and settled with Bin.
For Zuli, this is huge. It's taken us 2 years to get this fat, angry loris to be thin, handsome and social. So we agreed that he passed the test to go to the next stage, which is this forested enclosure.
The team have just moved Zuli and Bin to a semi-free area for lorises, where they'll be monitored for 2 months. Considering his background, it's a huge step for the small loris.
If Zuli passes the test, in 2 months we're going to get a radio collar on him and release him. So this is really exciting. We've had lots of different variables of loris from the pet trade or how long in the trade, but we've never had one so humanised and messed up like Zuli. But he's done so well and he's earned himself a chance to be released. And all the team unanimously think that he's good enough to go. So hopefully in 2 months we'll have a collar on him and then we can track him post-release for 7 months. So come on, Zuli.
Zuli's progress is a perfect example of the rewards for hard work and dedication enjoyed by the care team at Douc. With Tung and Louis waiting to be released into the large semi-free enclosure, Lee and Fong are preparing to move the 3 adolescent Doucs into the area the golden-cheeked gibbons are vacating. There's also another Douc monkey needing to be examined today. His name is Peter, and he was brought to Douc by the authorities a few months ago, having lived in captivity for 4 years.
We actually put Anna with him when he first arrived, and it's an important step for any new arrivals, really. They need that stimulus. If you get one on their own, it's more difficult to get them out of shock or potential shock. So the importance of Anna going in with him, interacting with him and stimulating him actually helps us get him through that critical stage of being taken from the wild, kept as a pet, transported to Douc. It's a massive, massive step for him.
The issue for the team is that Peter is not very human-orientated. And while that's a good thing, it brings some challenges. Releasing him with the others isn't an option just yet.
If we allowed him into the semi-free, we probably couldn't get him back. But most importantly than that, we have quite a lot of males. So we have Red, we have Vu and Peter, 3 growing adolescent males. And sometimes there can only be one big male. At the moment, the leader of this group is Vu. Although he's smaller than Red, he's the alpha male. And when they went in with Peter, they went in kind of strong, playful, pulling his tail. But Peter was way too scared about this, and he actually went down to the ground, and he's been quite nervous. So at the moment, Peter is still just living side by side with the other 3, gaining confidence. And also importantly, Peter is gaining weight. When he arrived, when we did his health checks, he was skin and bone. He has now gained over 2 kilos from eating his luscious leaves every day.
The team need to come up with a plan, not just for Peter, but also for Red. He's a grey-shanked Douc and can't be released into the wild with Vu or Anna, who are both black-shanked Doucs. As a result, over the last few months, the team have been scouring the island for a suitable location to build a brand new Douc facility. They've also been searching out fruiting trees suitable for a new Douc semi-free area.
Con Vân, con Kỳ.
Con vượn con khỉ thích.
Culi.
Culi
con.
chua.
Vọt trong
No.
This isn't it, but hopefully they'll find the perfect spot. For now, Vu, Anna and Red are moving to their new forest enclosure, where they can access the trees at will, and Peter will stay next door. Caring for the delicate Doucs is a full-time job.
Qui has milk drinks round the clock, morning and through the night. Initially, he didn't want to take any milks, and he was very dehydrated, so it was quite scary at the start. But now he's getting better. As you can see, he gets quite excited about his milk drinks. And they're so little, they're so sensitive, with incredibly sensitive guts. They can be quite greedy monkeys, so they often inhale fluid, so you have to be very gentle. You need to give them a reason to live. You need to give them their family. That's why we work so hard. We have a team of 4 people at the moment trying to keep little Qui going and getting stronger and stronger. So at some point, he can catch up with the other larger Douc, then ultimately be released back to the wild, which will be exciting because I don't think there's been any other Douc releases done back into continuous forest. So if we can develop protocols to get them back into the forest, that would just be brilliant. So any other Doucs in the future can find a way back home.
Next, it's the turn of the 3 Douc monkeys to be released into their new outside enclosure. Since arriving at Douc, Anna, Vu and Red have been given the opportunity to live as natural a life as possible. They're now accustomed to spending their time in the trees, and the larger area with its much higher tree canopy shouldn't daunt them. After a slight hesitation, they're off. All 3 heading up high, full of confidence. It's exactly what the team were hoping for.
I'm feeling so hopeful that these guys can make it. They've grown up in the trees. They're so physically strong, they're socially strong, they're pulling away from humans very strongly. Like any stranger now who goes near them, they don't like it. So, yeah, I really, really think they can do it. We just need to find that perfect release site and where the local community support the conservation of Douc. That's the key.
It's just, you know, it's amazing. These primates have had something taken away from them. We're just trying to give that little percent back.
Dr. Marina Kenyon has played an important role in the success story of both Monkey World and its sister sanctuary Dau Tien in Vietnam. Set up 15 years ago with the full support of the Vietnamese authorities, the island reserve, which covers 65 hectares, is in Cat Tien National Park in the Dong Nai province. Its aim is to rescue, rehabilitate and ultimately release back into the wild some of the most endangered species in Vietnam, including golden-cheeked gibbons, black-shanked Douc monkeys and pygmy loris. Marina's partner, Lee Butler, is also heavily involved in Dau Tien and has made the 6,000-mile journey from the UK to the centre.
It's a busy period. We've had new loris arrivals. We've got to now do loris introductions. We've had 2 silvered langurs that have turned up, so we're doing health checks on the langurs. We're going to move Doucs to a next phase of their rehabilitation to a semi-free where there is minimal contact with people. There's just so much going on. It's just, you know, you don't have time to think. We've just got to get it done. If you go there and then over your head, young man. Thank you.
He's been accompanied by Keith and Orr, who are about to take up the day-to-day running of Dau Tien in the absence of Lee and Marina. They'll live permanently on the island.
That'll do.
Lee has plans to build a new facility, which he thinks will help with the steady influx of young Doucs now being rescued and brought to the centre. It's been on hold due to the global pandemic, and now, with more youngsters arriving and the older Doucs already in semi-free enclosures, it can be used for rearing young Doucs and dealing with any sick animals that come in.
It's so exciting to finally get the groundwork started to actually get this facility that is much, much needed in rehabilitating these young primates that come here. This will help us get them to where they need to get. And it's something that we really do need to get built.
So this is the plans we discussed from before, so we've just taken them forward.
The team have come up with a design that'll make it easier to care for and rehabilitate these vulnerable youngsters. Qui is a young black-shanked Douc who arrived a few months ago. He was stolen from his family and found frightened and malnourished in a hunter's house when he was just 7 months old. In the expert care of the island's staff, he's now learning to venture into the trees and eat the leaves as he would in the wild. But what he really needs is company of his own kind, and to be less reliant on humans.
We have to get in with other individuals. It's an absolute necessity for him, for any primate. So the next step is Fung and I will have a meeting and then we'll discuss. Are we going to do an intro with Red, the grey-shanked Douc? I know he's a separate species. Or do we consider him with the silvered langurs? They do sort of coexist in the wild, but we'll have to make that decision what is best for Qui. So within the coming days, we'll assess that and then we'll make a plan going forward.
In the last few months, Dau Tien has had an influx of silvered langurs, including a tiny infant named Hon Mei, who's just a few months old. He may be an option for Qui to meet, but for now the young Douc is spending time in a cage next door to Peter, another black-shanked Douc. The more pressing concern is the trio of Doucs who recently moved to a small semi-free area on the island. 2 black-shanked Doucs, Anna and Vu, and a grey-shanked called Red. The problem for the team is they'll all be reaching sexual maturity soon. And being a different species, Red can't be allowed to mate with Anna. As a consequence, the team are going to move Vu and Anna to a larger semi-free area. But first, they have to separate the pair from Red.
No, Vu, Red, come here. No.
It's not going to be straightforward.
Go. It's going to be okay.
This trio have been friends for a long time, so parting them isn't easy.
Oh, Anna. Come on, darling. Well, you want a bit more?
Eventually, Fung, with a bit of leafy encouragement, persuades Vu and Anna into the crate. They're then transported across the island to a large semi-free forest enclosure, where a release cage has been set up.
My foot. Okay.
The pair will spend 3 or 4 days inside the cage so they can get used to the sights, sounds and smells of their new home.
Right, are you ready, guys? Right.
They'll be regularly fed, watered and monitored and, when they're ready, released into the trees. While black-shanked Doucs, Vu and Anna wait to be let out into the forest sanctuary in Dau Tien, some of the gibbons on the island aren't so fortunate. Although they've been rescued, they'll never be fit enough or well enough to be released back into the wild. However, along with the gibbons in the process of rehabilitation, they still get all the care and attention they need. This morning, Mr. Phuc, one of the Vietnamese staff, is making a unique form of enrichment from native plants.
It's a tam rau. Tam ruột. It's a Vietnamese fruit, so sweet, but it's quite ingenious what he's doing. He's making some banana leaf parcels, and all of it is just from the banana plant. But the banana leaf is when you take it from the plant, it's very brittle. And one way they overcome that is they actually put it over a naked flame. And then you can bend it. It's just ingenious. I've tried to make these and I can never tie them. I always end up breaking the tie, which is sort of the spine of the banana leaf. But it is really ingenious. Come on here.
The little banana plant parcel should challenge the gibbon's mental agility as they work out a way to unwrap it.
Okay.
Once the gibbons reach the fruit inside, the leaf is dropped to the floor. But it's done its job, encouraging the gibbons to handle and process their food. Gibbons and Douc monkeys aren't the only primates on the island the team at Dau Tien care for. There are also 5 Bengal lorises and 10 pygmy lorises. The centre has had great success rehabilitating and releasing 137 of the small nocturnal primates back into the wild. And next to go are Zuli and Bin. The pair have been living in the loris semi-free area for the last few months, getting used to the trees. They still have access to the cage, and the staff supplement their food, but they come and go as they please. Soon it'll be time to take their final steps back into the wild. But before that, the pair will need a health check, and Zuli needs to be fitted with a GPS radio collar, so the team can track their whereabouts once released.
So 540, the pillowcase is 110, okay?
Yeah.
Around 450 grams is about right, and a lot less than the 800 grams he weighed when he first arrived at Douc. He's returned to the box and monitored as he comes round from the anaesthetic. All being well, Zuli and Bin will be released into the wild in the next few days. They're not the only pair who are about to enjoy the freedom of the trees. For the last 4 days, Vu and Anna, two black-shanked Douc monkeys, have been staying in a release cage in the middle of a large semi-free area on the island.
The plan today is to let the black-shanked Doucs, Vu and Anna, out into their new enclosure. Big day today, so we're going to give it a couple of minutes and then Mr. Dawn will open the slide for me, so fingers crossed. Big day for Vu and Anna.
Everything is set and the slide is opened. The two monkeys don't wait around, heading straight for the trees. They're a bit wary at first, sticking to the lower branches, taking it all in. But not for long. They're both soon climbing up to the high tree canopy where they belong. It's exactly what Lee was hoping for.
Well, what an incredible start to the day on Douc. Absolutely amazing to see. Testament to the teamwork we have on Douc so that we can keep this incredible species alive. It is truly amazing. Doucs back in the wild where they belong.
– 6,000 miles away from Dorset lies Monkey World's sister sanctuary, Douc. Located in southeast Vietnam, it's an island reserve in Cat Tien National Park. It's been run by Dr. Marina Kenyon along with her partner Lee Butler for the last 17 years. With both now being based back in the UK, a dedicated Vietnamese team worked to rehabilitate and release some of the country's most endangered species back into the wild. Lee has flown out to oversee some urgent renovations and improvements on the island.
So unfortunately, as we can see, the concrete posts have failed. Now we're going to our new metal poles, which are stronger, and we can actually get the fence working much better. So yeah, a vital part in our rehabilitation for all the primates that we rescue and rehabilitate on Douc.
Douc measures around 65 hectares. There are 5 semi-free areas where the rescued primates learn to live in the trees again as part of the final stages of their rehabilitation. These areas are large and there's a lot of fence line to be fixed and replaced. It's all part of the team's goal to rescue, rehabilitate and ultimately release the primates back into the forests of Vietnam. Since the centre opened in 2008, 277 individuals have been cared for. One of the most successful primate rehabilitations has been with pygmy lorises. So far, 162 have been released into the forest.
These are wild primates. We want them in the forest, we want them free. That is the long-term goal. Get them back in the forest where they belong, not in a bird cage, not in a cage, back in the forest.
One individual rescued 3 years ago is Peter, a black-shanked Douc brought to Douc by the Vietnamese authorities, having been kept as an illegal pet for 4 years. Last year, he was released into one of the semi-free areas. But he's managed to find his way to another part of the island to join up with Doucs Anna, Vu and Quy.
So since we released Peter on the southern tip of the island in our main semi-free one enclosure, he's been quite incredible. He's moved through the forest, through to headquarters, then to the northern tip of the island, and then he moved back to our semi-free forward enclosure where we had Anna, Vu and Quy. He actually got into the enclosure, and that's where he's been ever since. And it's been good. All 4 of them have been tremendous. They've all got on. And he's a beautiful, beautiful adult male Douc. And his leadership with the socialization of the group will be tremendous for them.
Peter has matured into a big, strong, dominant male who now leads the small group. It's an important role because all 4 are about to take another big step in their lives. The team on Douc are going to release them into the wild area of the island, where they can move through the tree canopy at will. There's already another large wild Douc family on the island who are thriving, so the hope is this 4 will do the same.
They're at that age now and the stage in their life where they need to be free. They need to be in the canopy. They need to be where they belong. And we're hoping that they all stay together within their group and then disperse. So it's going to be quite emotional the day we do that.
Taiwanese vet Savvy has arrived on Douc to assist Lee and the team in replacing Peter's collar. She'll also give him a quick health check. All 4 Doucs have been brought back into a temporary cage while Peter has the procedure. It's not straightforward. First, Lee has to dart Peter. It's not easy to be accurate and get the timing right with an animal taking evasive action. But Lee has had plenty of practice. And within a few minutes, Peter is out for the count. Savvy quickly gets to work removing the old collar and fitting the new one, all within 30 minutes. The team watch over the male Douc while he recovers and comes around.
Hey, dude.
Peter will spend the rest of the day recovering in the safety of the enclosure. Next morning, with Peter fully fit, the team prepare to release the 4 Doucs back into the wild area of Douc. The release cage is perfectly situated, and as soon as the slide is opened, all 4 rush out. Heading straight up into the tree canopy. It's exactly what Lee hoped for.
Out they've gone. Anna, Vu, Kui and Peter. They've got the whole of Douc now. In time, they will come across the wild troop that we have on here, so fingers crossed that all goes okay. So time will tell now. Let's see what they do. But another massive step for all the team, from Alison, Marina and everyone who's involved on Douc. Black-shanked Doucs that we've rescued in terrible, awful conditions that are now back out in the forest where they belong. What else can I say? Just truly, truly amazing.
At Monkey World's sister sanctuary in Vietnam, it's the rainy season. But that doesn't stop the team at Douc continuing their goal of rescuing, rehabilitating, and ultimately releasing back into the wild some of the country's most endangered species. The island reserve within Cat Tien National Park is staffed by a dedicated Vietnamese team. They're led by Dr. Marina Kenyon, who's flown in from the UK to oversee 2 big releases. The first of which has been driven by a small group of misbehaving black-shanked Doucs. The 4, led by strapping male Peter, were released into the wild area on Douc a few weeks ago. But as they've been embracing their freedom, they've become a bit troublesome, hanging around the gibbon enclosures, stealing food, and intimidating the lesser apes.
They showed us how clever they are, actually. They're hilarious. They've been harassing their keepers, quite predatory, leap on the gibbon cages and leap like this at the gibbons, and the gibbons are submissive and afraid.
After urgent talks with the Vietnamese authorities, special permission has been granted for a rapid release of Peter, Anna and Quy into the Dong Nai Biosphere Reserve, a forest perfect for Doucs to survive and thrive. This will lessen the threat of coming into contact with people and the associated dangers.
2 days ago, we had meetings with the national park head, provincial head, to say we need to do a rapid release now. And everyone agreed, so today they go.
The fourth member of the group, Vu, is staying on Dau Tien. Marina and the team don't think he's ready to survive the rigours of the wild forest areas yet. He'll have another male Douc for company, Simon, who also isn't ready for release. The 3 Doucs have been crated up ready to be moved to their new home. It may only be a journey of 80 kilometres, but the team have to travel by boat and once on the mainland by truck, along slow and dangerous rough tracks where wild elephants roam. The last leg is an arduous trek through the jungle in hot, humid conditions. Finally, the team arrive at their destination. A temporary cage has already been placed in situ, ready for the 3 Doucs.
Okay.
Peter, Anna and Quy are released into it.
So now we will leave them here tonight, and then tomorrow we come and check, and if all is well, we will let them go tomorrow.
Marina and the team head back to a nearby ranger station. Next morning, it's release day, and Marina is a little apprehensive.
We have never released a hand-reared animal before, ever. So before, when we release the gibbons, they come to the rescue centre small, but they are looked after by gibbons and go quickly. We have never released an animal that has had 1 or 2 years of care from the humans, so this is a huge step.
Peter was rescued from the pet trade as a young adult, but no one knows how old he was when he was taken from the forest. Anna and Quy were just weeks old when they arrived at Dau Tien. This is a huge moment for the Doucs, and an emotional one for the team.
It's incredible we have made it to this stage. A lot of work, but they're ready, so let's let them go.
It's nerve-wracking, but the team are ready and the release cage slide is opened. Confident Anna leads the trio out, heading straight up into the trees, followed closely by Peter and finally, Quy. Despite the unfamiliar surroundings, they're relaxed and their natural instincts take over. The team will be able to track them and monitor their progress over the coming weeks and months via Peter's GPS collar. Marina is confident the trio will thrive in the wild, despite their backgrounds.
I have 100% belief they can do it. And with Mr. Bin and Mr. Chow tracking them, if they have a problem, we will bring them back. But I don't think they will. I believe they will not have a problem and they'll do it.
The new orangutan birth isn't the only success story connected to the park in recent months. In Vietnam, at Dau Tien, Monkey World's sister sanctuary, there's been cause to celebrate too. The team recently released a trio of black-shanked Doucs, Peter, Anna and Quy, into the forest area within Dong Nai Biosphere Reserve. Anna and Quy became the centre's first hand-reared animals to be released back into the wild. An important and exciting achievement. The trio are thriving in their newfound freedom, and Anna has given birth to a baby boy.
It's just fantastic. It means that they're adjusting to the wild, to the food in the wild, to all the different animals that they're close to. They've got over the shock of the elephants, and most importantly, they're surviving in the wild after horrible early years in the illegal pet trade.